Welcome, dear listener. Take a deep breath and allow your day to slowly melt away. You are safe. You are calm. You are ready to drift into a gentle night of dreams. Tonight, let's wander into a quiet, magical story about a little bear named Corduroy. A bear who lived in a department store and who had a dream of being loved and finding a home. So now, close your eyes. Feel your body relax from head to toe. And listen gently as the story begins. In the quiet corner of a big, bustling department store, under soft golden lights and rows of plush toys, sat a little bear. His name was Corduroy. Corduroy wasn't the newest or flashiest toy in the store. He was a small brown bear with bright button eyes, fluffy ears, and soft fur made from velvety corduroy fabric. But Corduroy had a tiny flaw. You see, one of his buttons was missing from the strap of his green overalls. And although that didn't seem like much to him, it made all the difference to the grown-ups who passed him by. Day after day, children would wander through the toy section with wide eyes. They would admire dolls and dresses, race cars that zoomed, trains that puffed clouds of smoke. And Corduroy would watch, patiently, smiling softly, hoping, maybe one day, someone would choose him. One quiet afternoon, just before sunset painted the windows golden, a little girl named Lisa walked into the store with her mother. Lisa had warm brown eyes and curly black hair tied with a ribbon. She wore a pink coat and held her mother's hand tightly. As they passed the toy shelves, something special caught Lisa's eye. She paused, let go of her mother's hand, and gently walked toward the shelf where Corduroy sat. Their eyes met. Corduroy's little heart fluttered. Could this be the moment? Lisa reached out and touched his soft arm. "Mommy," she said quietly, "can I have this bear?" Her mother glanced over and smiled gently. But then, she noticed something. "Oh, Lisa," she said, "he's missing a button. He doesn't look new. Let's keep looking." Lisa's face fell. She nodded, but her eyes stayed on Corduroy even as she walked away. Corduroy watched her leave, a little sad. But something stirred inside him. A spark. A wish. A hope that maybe, just maybe, he could find that missing button. That night, when the store was closed, when the lights dimmed low, and the aisles were silent, Corduroy climbed off his shelf. He had made a decision. He would find his button. He tiptoed past the towering aisles, past rows of kitchenware and folded clothes, through carpets and mirrors and shiny perfume bottles. And then, he spotted something that shimmered under the moonlight spilling through the window. A large mattress, soft and wide, with buttons on its side. "Aha!" Corduroy whispered, his eyes wide. Maybe one of those buttons would be perfect. With all his strength, Corduroy climbed up the tall bed, bouncing a little on the soft surface. It was the most comfortable thing he had ever felt. But as he tugged on one of the buttons, pop! Corduroy lost his balance and fell. Down, down, into a soft bin of towels below. He didn't get hurt, but he was tired. And just as he was about to climb back up, a security guard passed by. What's this little bear doing here?" The guard smiled kindly, picked Corduroy up, and returned him gently to his shelf. Corduroy sighed, a little disappointed. But as he lay back in his spot, he thought about Lisa and her kind eyes. And he smiled again. Because somehow, he felt that his journey wasn't over yet. The next morning, when the sun began to rise and paint the sky with soft peach and gold, the department store doors opened once again. Soft music began to play from the overhead speakers. Lights slowly brightened, and Corduroy opened his eyes. He was back on his shelf. But something felt different. His little heart skipped. Could today be the day? Then, he saw her. Lisa. Wearing her pink coat and carrying her little purse. She wasn't with her mother this time. She walked straight to Corduroy with a smile that was warmer than sunlight. "Hello, Bear," she whispered. Corduroy sat up a little straighter. His button eyes sparkled. Lisa reached into her purse and pulled out a small jar. Inside were coins she had saved, little shiny ones she had collected from the bottom of drawers and the corner of her room. She went to the counter and gently placed Corduroy and her coins down. "I want to take him home," she told the clerk. The clerk smiled. "Well, he's waited a long time for someone like you." And just like that, Corduroy belonged to Lisa. He had been chosen. He had found his friend. He had found his home. Lisa's house was cozy and full of sunlight. There were warm rugs, comfy couches, and the scent of fresh cookies drifting from the kitchen. She carried Corduroy up a small staircase to her bedroom. A space filled with books, soft pillows, and toys that looked like old friends. Lisa placed Corduroy gently on her bed. "This is where you'll sleep," she said. "Right next to me." Corduroy looked around. He had never seen anything like it. A soft blanket. A pillow just his size. And next to the bed, a sewing basket. Lisa reached inside and pulled out a needle and thread. She carefully stitched a shiny new button onto Corduroy's overalls. The thread was golden. The button matched perfectly. "There," she said proudly. "Now you're whole." Corduroy touched the button and smiled. But more than the button, it was her kindness that filled the empty space in his heart. He didn't feel like just a toy anymore. He felt real. He felt loved. That night, a star sparkled outside Lisa's window. Corduroy lay on the bed beside her. The room was quiet. The moonlight spilled gently through the curtains. Lisa was fast asleep, breathing softly. Corduroy turned his head slightly and looked up at the ceiling. He had a button again. He had a bed. He had a friend. And for the first time ever, Corduroy closed his eyes not as a toy in a store, but as a bear who belonged. He drifted off into the softest sleep, and dreamed of endless meadows, cozy nooks, and warm hugs that never ended. That night, as Corduroy nestled beside Lisa in the gentle moonlight, something magical happened. While the world outside the window slumbered, Corduroy began to dream. And oh, what a dream it was! He felt himself rising gently off the bed, carried by a soft breeze made of stars and whispers. He floated above the bed, through the bedroom ceiling, and out into the sparkling night sky. He wasn't afraid. Not at all. Because in his dream, the stars were warm, and the wind felt like a lullaby. Corduroy floated up, higher and higher, until the clouds below looked like soft pillows. And then, he saw it. A magical playground, floating among the stars. There were slides made of moonlight, swings that soared through constellations, and a gentle seesaw that dipped into dream puddles. "Corduroy," called a voice. He turned. It was Lisa. She was in her pajamas, her hair glowing under the starlight. "Come play with me," she giggled. And so they did. They ran barefoot across fluffy clouds. They played hide and seek behind glowing moons. They danced with twinkling fireflies made of dream dust. Corduroy had never felt so free. The dream was quiet, peaceful. No loud noises. No rushing. Only soft giggles, starlight, and the feeling of being truly happy. As they floated down from the playground, Lisa and Corduroy found themselves at the edge of a quiet forest. But this was no ordinary forest. The trees whispered in gentle rhymes. The leaves sparkled like silver threads. And the path was made of glowing moss. Corduroy and Lisa walked hand in paw down the trail. They passed animals curled up in sleep. Owls blinking slowly. Deer resting under velvet trees. And foxes yawning beneath cozy burrows. Everything was quiet. And kind. And calm. The forest seemed to welcome them like old friends. They came to a glade with a large tree in the center. Its trunk was wide, and at the base was a door. A small wooden door with tiny golden hinges. Lisa knocked softly, and the door creaked open. Inside was the coziest room Corduroy had ever seen. There were soft chairs made of marshmallow cushions, lanterns glowing like fireflies, and warm cocoa in little acorn cups. "Welcome," said a soft voice. It was a rabbit, wearing glasses and a patchwork vest. "This is the house of restful dreams," he said. "Please, stay a while." Lisa and Corduroy looked at each other and smiled. They stepped inside, curled up on a soft couch, and sipped warm cocoa. The warmth filled their hearts. Not just in the dream, but in their souls. As the fire in the little room crackled softly, the rabbit pulled out something special. A blanket, stitched with stars, moonbeams, and tiny wishes. "This is the blanket of peace," he said. "Lay it over your hearts, and you'll never feel alone." He tucked them both in, Lisa and Corduroy, and kissed their foreheads gently. Then, the rabbit turned down the lanterns, and the room dimmed into the softest, most comforting night. Corduroy looked at Lisa. Lisa looked at Corduroy. And slowly, their eyes closed. Even within the dream, they began to dream again. Of gardens filled with laughter, rivers made of honey, and skies painted with music. As Corduroy and Lisa slumbered beneath the blanket of peace, their dreams shifted, quietly, like a feather on the breeze. They found themselves waking up in a garden where everything sang softly. It was the garden of gentle sounds. The trees hummed lullabies through their leaves. The grass rustled like distant whispers. Even the breeze carried soft melodies, barely heard, but deeply felt. Corduroy sat up and listened. There were no loud noises. No honking cars. No beeping or buzzing. Only the music of calm. The petals of the flowers gently opened as they passed by. Each one gave off a unique tone, like soft chimes, or the quiet strum of a harp. Lisa giggled. "Listen, Corduroy," she said, "it's like the garden is singing just for us." Corduroy nodded, his heart full. They walked slowly down a winding path. No need to rush. Every step was met with soft bells and the delicate songs of dreaming birds. At the center of the garden was a fountain made of moonlight. The water sparkled, but made no splash, only the softest sound. Like a sigh of happiness, Corduroy dipped a paw into the water. It was cool and peaceful, and as he touched it, memories floated up. Of Lisa's smile, of warm hugs, of that moment on the shelf when he had first hoped. In the garden of gentle sounds, everything good was remembered, and nothing was ever lost. From the garden, a narrow path led down to a glimmering shore. There, the river of time flowed. Not fast or rushing, but slow and steady. It sparkled with silvery light, like stars swimming beneath the surface. Corduroy and Lisa stepped into a small boat made of leaves and soft dreams. It carried them gently down the river. On either side, scenes from their lives drifted past like clouds. Lisa as a baby, giggling in her mother's arms. Corduroy arriving at the store, fresh and new. Lisa counting coins in her room, whispering, "Someday." Corduroy felt something warm in his chest. The river didn't feel sad. It was tender. Like remembering something beautiful that once happened, and being thankful it did. Lisa held Corduroy's paw as they floated. She whispered, "I think this river remembers everything." And Corduroy nodded. Because he felt it, too. The river knew their story. And it carried them through time, gently, with care. Eventually, their boat drifted into a soft bank made of mist. They stepped off into a floating hill of clouds. And at the top of the hill stood a tall, round building, made entirely of cloudstone and glassy light. It was the Cloud Library. Inside, it was quiet. Pillows lined every corner. Bookshelves reached to the sky, filled with glowing books. There were no loud footsteps. Just the soft sound of pages turning. Lisa picked up a book. It opened itself. Inside was a story about Corduroy. About how he had waited patiently. How he had searched for a button. How he had found a friend. And as Corduroy looked around, he saw shelves filled with other books. Each one had someone's story. Every dreamer. Every child. Every toy, every hope, every gentle heart. All lovingly kept in the Cloud Library, where stories were never forgotten. Corduroy curled up beside Lisa on a cloud cushion. She opened a book of stars. And they read, softly, as the library gently rocked in the sky. After reading, Lisa yawned. Corduroy rubbed his sleepy eyes. They both felt the weight of dreams gently pulling them deeper. The librarian, a gentle old owl with silver feathers, brought them a pillow. It was filled with stars. "Rest," he said. "The night is still young, and there is more peace to find." Lisa and Corduroy laid their heads down together. The stars beneath the pillow whispered gentle wishes. "You are loved. You are seen. You are safe." Corduroy closed his eyes. And the Cloud Library dimmed into starlit silence. After a long rest in the Cloud Library, Corduroy and Lisa felt themselves slowly lifted once again. Not by noise or rush, but by a gentle invitation from the wind. The cloud beneath them drifted like a slow balloon, and carried them to a place full of soft colors and glowing lights. It was the Dream Carnival. But this was no ordinary carnival. There were no blaring horns. No flashing lights. No crowds or chaos. Here, the rides moved slowly and smoothly. The music was soft like lullabies. And every part of the carnival felt like a hug for the heart. Corduroy and Lisa walked hand in paw through glowing archways. There was a carousel of stars, where gentle creatures of light carried dreamers in slow circles through constellations. There was the sleepy slide, a glowing spiral that sent you down into piles of feather pillows, where you could lie and look up at dream clouds shaped like anything you loved. There were cotton candy clouds that didn't make your hands sticky, just sweet with a soft scent that made your chest feel warm. Lisa and Corduroy sat together on the Ferris wheel, which moved slower than a yawn, lifting them up into the sky where they could see all the dreamlands below. Corduroy leaned into Lisa's side. She stroked his ear gently and whispered, "I'm glad you found me." Corduroy smiled. "I'm glad you chose me." And the wind whispered around them, "You chose each other." As they stepped off the last ride, the path before them turned quieter again. Soft grass met their feet. Lanterns lit the way. Soon, they arrived at the lake of stillness. It was so calm. Not a ripple on its glassy surface. The moon was reflected perfectly in the water. The stars above seemed to shimmer in quiet conversation with the stars below. At the lake's edge were little wooden boats, just big enough for two. Lisa and Corduroy climbed into one, and the boat began to glide on its own. No paddles. No effort. Only stillness. And silence. The air was cool and comforting. The boat rocked gently. Back and forth. Back and forth. Like a cradle. Corduroy leaned back against Lisa's shoulder. His eyes began to grow heavy again. They didn't need to talk. Their hearts were already speaking. This was peace. This was where dreams and love and quiet all held hands. Eventually, a breeze began to stir. It was soft, but purposeful. A breeze that said, "It's time to return." The boat brought them back to shore. And from the trees came a gentle owl, the same one from the Cloud Library. He carried a silver feather in his beak. "Take this," he said, laying it in Lisa's hand. "When you see this feather, you'll remember that dreamland is always close." Lisa nodded. Corduroy hugged the owl gently. And with that, the dream began to shift again. The dreamland slowly faded into mist. And they felt themselves floating down. Down. Back through the stars. Back through the clouds. Back to Lisa's cozy room. Lisa woke first. Morning light filled her bedroom. Soft and golden. Corduroy lay by her side, just as he had in the dream. She reached out and stroked his fur. Then, she noticed something. A small silver feather, tucked beneath Corduroy's arm. She smiled. Was it real? She whispered. Corduroy didn't answer. But his eyes, as always, seemed to know. Lisa hugged him tightly. And in that warm embrace, the magic of dreamland lingered. It would always be there. In her heart. In his button. In the quiet of sleep. And the love between a little girl and her bear. Dear listener, as our story comes gently to a close, let your breath stay slow and steady. Let your eyes stay soft. Let your heart stay full. You, like Corduroy, have been on a journey of peace, of dreams, of belonging. You are wrapped in calm now. You are held in rest. And the dreamland you just visited is always there when you need it. Just close your eyes. Take a breath. And drift. Corduroy is sleeping now. And you can sleep too. Good night, dreamer. Good night, friend. Sleep well. And sleep deep.